Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. By the title of the video, you know what we're going to talk about today. Today I wanted to talk about this topic because I feel like it's one of the things that I've struggled with in my life and I'm learning and growing through it. And I feel like I picked some videos that have some really good points of view, different points of view. So without further ado, let's get into the videos and I'll be back later for some commentary.
This is how I got myself to stop people pleasing. Number one, I started setting boundaries and I stopped apologizing for it. I stopped apologizing for setting boundaries. Why should I apologize? My peace is important. If I need to do something for my mental health, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's not my job to satisfy you. It's my job to satisfy me, make sure I'm healing, make sure I'm feeling good. If it makes you upset that I'm trying to better myself, you clearly don't belong in my life. Because boundaries are a form of self-love, not disrespect, and we are all worthy of having our own space. And I think sometimes some people get so dependent and so comfortable with just having you there and having you do everything for them that they do get offended the moment that you decide you're not going to do that for them anymore. Another thing I started doing was I started really asking myself, does this actually feel good to me or not? Because I think sometimes when we people please, for me personally, I would get anxiety when somebody would ask me to do something for them or they would tell me to do something. And it's even if I didn't want to do it, I feel like I would get nervous, anxious, and I would do it just to kind of just get it over with. But at the end of the day, it's if I don't feel good about this thing, why should I go ahead and do it? If it doesn't feel right to me, I'm not going to do it to please you and satisfy you when at the end of the day, I'm going to feel uncomfortable or I'm going to feel drained at the end or I just don't want to do it. So the point is, you got to learn to check in with yourself before you just say yes. Sometimes we just get in the habit of just saying yes because we're so used to it and we feel like we have to. But you're not obligated to say yeah if it doesn't fulfill you. Another thing is I got comfortable with people being disappointed in me. I used to be a part of people pleasing is you don't want people to not like you or you don't want people to be disappointed in you. But at the end of the day, no matter what you do, even if you do everything in the book for a person, if they don't like you, they're just not gonna like you, right? So sometimes people will not like you, but they'll keep you around because of what you can offer and what you can do for them. And it's it comes to a point where I just don't want to do that. I had to realize that protecting my peace is more important than being liked, right? If I am putting myself in an environment that makes me uncomfortable because I want to be liked, that's not genuinely fulfilling me or doing anything for me. I then stopped explaining myself to people who were committed to misunderstanding me. Because at the end of the day, you can explain your healing, you can explain why you're doing this for yourself, and people are still not going to understand you because people only understand you to their level of awareness. We are all literally experiencing life through the lenses of our own minds, of our own eyes, right? And so people may see you as this person, and because you're changing and you want to do better, they cannot comprehend that because they've never implemented those changes on their own. So you explaining yourself isn't going to do anything. And honestly, not everyone deserves access to your truth. Literally, you're clearly trying to set boundaries and you're clearly trying to grow from this because these people are the ones taking advantage of you. And lastly, I started choosing me, even if it meant being alone. If I don't want to go to the club with you, if I don't want to go to the bar with you, if I don't want to go party, and you are still insisting and you want to go ahead and do it. I don't care to be alone. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with myself. And I feel if you constantly need distractions and you need to go party, you need to be around people, it's you don't have the opportunity to get to know yourself. So me being alone, it actually feels good because I'm actually getting to know myself. I'd rather be alone in peace than be surrounded in an environment that is going to negatively impact me or drain my energy. I'd rather be by myself to be in an environment where people are complaining, gossiping, just being low vibrational and just doing things that we don't need to be doing to our bodies. And I do this because people pleasing is the trauma response, and a part of my healing means letting go of those traumas and letting go of those anxious attachments and all that. So this is what I started doing because choosing myself is the real healing.
As a recovering people pleaser, I realized that I was people pleasing not so that you would like me. I was people pleasing so that I would like you. Because I'm not doing nothing to nobody. I'm just being myself. And if you don't like that, but I still had to be in community with you, I would people please in order for you to act like a nice person, to give you no reason not to dislike me so that I could like you. Because there wasn't no reason for you to be treating me like that. So I turned on the charm, I turned on the sweetness, every single thing, just so that you would act like a normal person to me, so that I could like you. And then when that failed, I didn't have no choice but to dislike you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I was giving you opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to not be a fake ass, and you failed. you failed. But I don't do that anymore. And then I'm the villain. I'm the villain when I stop people pleasing. You see how that works?
So I have to say, I really liked her point of view as a recovering people pleaser or someone who's trying to recover from people pleasing, because you'll meet someone and then you'll have like a really great time with them, and then they learn that you're basically a people pleaser. And it's like they learn, oh, I can ask this person to do whatever, or I can ask just whatever, because they know you're going to say yes. Not so much because you want to do it or because they really want you to do it, but it's because they know you'll say yes, whether you want to do it or not. And that kind of becomes the narrative for the entire relationship. And then when you find your nerve to say no and put yourself first, they hold it against you and they try to make you feel guilty for it. So now it's to the point where the relationship is taking a turn and they don't talk to you anymore. They don't, it's kind of like they want to punish you. And then the minute you do come back around, it's like they try to give you a break to kind of like, okay, I'll give them some time to themselves. And then when they find like you have time to yourself where you're available, they feel like you're available to do them favors again instead of asking you in a genuine way. And by that, I mean they'll come around and pretend that they care about you after not talking to you for a while because you said no to them the last time. They'll pretend to care about you, pretend that they're showing up to be present for you. And then after the fake charm has been put on and the performance is done, then they ask for the favor. And it's like, well, you have to say yes. I mean, I'm showing that I'm here for you, that I care about you. But it's obvious that they wanted something from you. And then if you say no again, you literally don't hear from that person for a while. So just be cautious of things like that. I really like her point of view because that's something I didn't see at first, because I'm like, oh, they don't mean any harm. We had such great times together. Like, this person actually really cares about me. They're not only caring about me to the extent that I say yes to them all the time. Until you say no, that's when you really see the situation, the relationship for what it is. Because sometimes you'll have people in your life where you say no and they respect that and no hard feelings. But be cautious of the people who act different and treat you differently when you do say no.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. If you don't listen to nothing else, hear me out. The reason why God can't show up in your life and give you the things that you keep asking him for, and you feel confused, you feeling out of place, you're sad, you're up and down, you feel like you bipolar, you just don't know, and you're not happy, nothing is making you happy. And the reason why you feel like this is because with some people, y'all are so focused on trying to be good or trying to be great for other people. You so worried about what other people think about you. You so worried about what they gonna say about you, how they feel about this, how they feel about that. You are so concerned with other people and their opinions on you that when God is trying to give you a sign or a signal, you miss it because you're too busy looking at other people and wondering what they're thinking about you. You can't even fulfill your destiny that he sent you on earth to do because you're so focused on what other people are thinking about you. And the moment that you release that people-pleasing energy and you begin to operate and do the things that God is calling you to do and do the things that align with who you are as a person, the things that make you great, the things that come to you effortlessly, the things that you don't even have to think about, you could just, it's natural to you. When you start to not care if you look crazy to other people, that's when God is going to show up and he going to shut it down. He going to show up. And you going to be like, I waited all my life for this. And you mean to tell me all I had to do was look crazy for a second? And he gave me all of this? Yeah, exactly. Thank me later. Bye.
If someone came to me as a therapist and said, help me to stop people pleasing in 2 minutes or less, I would simply tell them, learn how to reparent yourself. Learn how to remother yourself, learn how to refather yourself. Those are two separate things. People pleasing often stems from this need to acquiesce. It's a trauma response from when you're younger. Sometimes even when we're outside of those traumatic instances where we needed it to survive, we still carry on the behavior, which is when it becomes toxic and manipulative. I said what I said. You need to learn how to be your own caretakers because it often comes from a place where you had a lack of caretaking or you had abusive caretaking. Remothering is when you learn how to nurture yourself. That's the part of yourself that you have to build up. Every time you scraped a knee, every time you fell short, every time you did something wrong, how did you want that mother you always envisioned in your head, that mother you always wanted to respond? That's what you're going to have to learn how to do for yourself in order to remother yourself. Refathering is when you think of the people who came at you sideways, the people who disrespected you, the people who violated your boundaries, the people who took you for granted. How would you want a father, a protector, to come in without physical violence and protect you? That's refathering. You need to build up that part of yourself. The more conscious of it you become, the more easy it is for you to practice. The more you practice, the less likely you're going to be doing some people pleasing stuff. I promise once you get that down pat, the people pleasing kind of goes out the window. And I did that in less than a minute and 30 seconds. Look at that.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but baby, you can't be someone who prioritizes self-care and be a people pleaser. In my recovery journey from people pleasing, I realized that self-care was the last thing on my mind. What I would spend a lot of my time doing is prioritizing what everyone else needed from me. That position of being everything to everyone and nothing to yourself. The thing with people pleasing is that you are so disconnected from yourself, and that means you don't even know what your own needs are. And by the time you kind of figure them out, you don't even know how to ask for them. By the time that you want to pour back into your own life, you have drained yourself out by pouring into others. And so you are sitting there resentful, upset, abandoned, and not knowing how to fill your own cup because you have used every single resource you have around love, validation, self-care, and you have given it and poured it into everyone else. So baby, for you to start really taking care of yourself, you have to intentionally figure out how to overcome people pleasing.
When you're really recovering from people pleasing and you're really starting to do what God is calling you to do, or you're just choosing you, period. Not necessarily in a selfish way, an inconsiderate way, or making life all about you, but you're actually deciding to say no when you can. You're saying no when it's really not in your ability. You really don't feel called to do that, so you're actually saying no. Like you're not saying yes because you feel pressure. You're not saying yes because you're trying to control their narrative. This is the scary part. There are some people that really only rock with you because you said yes. They have to get adjusted to the new you. People started to fall in love with a false version of ourselves. We said yes when we wanted to say no. And we created a narrative with all those yeses that some people, it's gonna be a hard time for them to adjust. But the good news is they'll be there. Some people won't. And then I'm reminded of this scripture. If I'm really trying to please God, it's gonna be very difficult for me to continue to please people. I gotta choose. But if I choose to please people and always please people and seek to please people and gain their approval, I'm probably gonna forfeit God's approval. And I don't think anybody's okay with that. My biggest motivation is I have to please God, period.
100%. I think every people pleaser goes through the angry phase. The angry phase is really when you think you're angry at the world, but you're really angry at yourself. I had a stage where I felt like I had to be like intimidating. You know, I had to be like real straight face, like I had to really be mean, you know, but really I'm not like that. Like I'm really kind and uplifting, charismatic, like, and I had to realize that just because I'm being nice, just because I'm being kind to someone, or just because I'm being playful and I'm smiling, doesn't mean I'm people pleasing. And like I said, you're really angry at yourself. You're really trying to prove a point to yourself. Okay, you're trying to show yourself that you have your back now. Like you're defensive, you're on go, you're ready for somebody to try you, so you can jump to get on them, jump to defend yourself. You know what I mean? Like you seeing the worst in people now. But you have to allow your heart to open back up, because really you abandoned yourself, babes. You feel what I'm saying? Like you abandoned yourself. You're angry at yourself for abandoning yourself. Okay, so you don't have to prove nothing to yourself. What you really need to do is love yourself, because the reason why you was even people pleasing in the beginning is because when you grew up, you had authoritative figures that made you work for love, that did not show you this unconditional love. They might have loved you unconditionally, but not personality wise. You know, when you said certain things, when you acted a certain way, when you expressed certain interests, you got in trouble, you got shamed, you got love taken away. And now you have convinced yourself, you have conditioned yourself to know how to receive love. but you don't work to receive love. Okay, that's what you had to do when you were a child. But you allow yourself to be loved. Okay, you be yourself and you allow who wants to love you, and you say this to anybody who don't. So now I'm kind, but not because I feel like I have to. Not because I'm trying to get your love. I'm trying to get you to like me. I'm kind now because that's who I am, and I like that about myself. You know what I mean? I like that I'm uplifting. I like that I have a warm, open heart. So don't be angry. Don't be angry at the world. Don't be angry at yourself. What you really need to do is just love yourself unconditionally. Show yourself that unconditional love that you was fiending for as a child. That's it. When you leave a social situation, ask yourself, was I abandoning myself or was I expressing myself? No matter how that looks like for you, as long as you were expressing yourself, speaking your truth, that's it.
So I do want to say before I go that video right there really did resonate with me so much, because just recently I did go through a situation where I had to decide, am I saying yes because I truly want to say yes, or am I saying yes because that's just the thing that I do and people know that that's what I do? And I kind of was at war with myself, and I really had to go back and forth with myself and consult with myself and just really be honest with myself. And it ended up being that I wanted to do it, but the situation was kind of inconveniencing me. So it was better that I didn't do it. But I also wrestled with not wanting to let that person down. So I ultimately had to decide what's best for me. And I did make that decision. So I just wanted to point out what she said, that you can be angry with yourself once it all hits you and you realize that you say yes to almost everything. And then you feel like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I say yes? Like, why am I like this? And then once you finally sit down with yourself and you think about it, you do kind of get a little angry, because it's like, when you reflect, it's really like, I let these people treat me like this. Like, I said no. Like I said, there's some people you say no and they're totally understanding. But the people who try to make you feel guilty or try to make you feel bad for saying no and choosing yourself, you get angry sometimes knowing that you allowed that to happen to you. Like, what was I thinking? Why am I like this? And it does come back to just sitting with self. And another person in their video mentioned that you have to reparent yourself. And that is very true. There's a lot of things we need to unlearn and then learn all over again. But you can't do that if you don't take the time to check in with yourself. Because if it's not sitting right with you, then obviously it's something that you don't want to do. You have to learn to put yourself first. It's okay to be selfish. We've been taught our entire lives that we should not be selfish. We should always put others before ourselves. And if you're just genuinely a kind person, like, that's just who you are, because I get it. That's how I am. I love doing things for people, but it gets to a point where, am I doing this because I want to do it for you, or am I doing this because it's expected of me? Am I doing this because I don't know how to put myself first? Am I doing it because I don't know how to create and respect my own boundaries? Or am I doing it because I set boundaries and I allow people to disrespect my boundaries? So it all comes down to checking in with yourself. If you feel good about it and you're not at war with yourself, and if, here's my thing, if you got to keep going back and forth with yourself, like, oh, why did I say yes? Why did I agree to that? Then chances are you're not choosing yourself and you didn't do it for you. Do things for others, but make sure it sits right with you. With that being said, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear from you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.